Hey y'all, it's Farmer MeeMaw, and today I thought I would share with you some of the things, some of the supplements that I take that helps me immensely with my ADHD and my overall energy and mental health that are not prescribed. These are over-the-counter things that you can buy. We usually get ours from Amazon, and they make such a difference that whenever I go several days without taking them, it really is as if I'm entering into some type of depressive episode. And so I want to share this information because it may be able to help one of you out there. Now, number one, I have ADHD. Number two, I also have the MTHFR gene mutation. I am compound heterozygous, which means that I have one of each of the mutations. Now, many people say, oh, it's not a mutation, it's just a variant because so many people have it. Don't let anyone dismiss or discount the fact that you have the mutation, if you indeed do. I went to my doctor, told him, hey, I've been taking these supplements and they're making me sick, and based on what I read, I think I have the MTHFR gene mutation. Well, he was like, I really don't think you do, but I'll run the test. I really appreciate the fact that my doctor runs tests that I ask him to run, even if he doesn't think I have whatever. And the funny thing is, obviously, not only did I have the mutation, I had both of them. I can't even remember what they are anymore. One is like a 1298 and one is, I think, a 667 or a 677, something like that. Anyway. And so, because I did my own research, which I always encourage you to do, because I had done my own research, I started kind of finding my own solutions. And through that process, I found out there are some things that can completely affect my focus, my energy, and my mental health. And so now I'm going to share with you specifically what I do. Now, number one is you need to avoid folic acid. Everybody, in my opinion, needs to avoid folic acid. And sadly, folic acid is promoted as this wonderful thing that we add to cereals and breads and everything. Folic acid is in most multivitamins. It's promoted among pregnant women, and this is actually just not good, okay? Not only is it synthetic, it also ties up your body in extra work so that it can't deal with folate. You want folate, not folic acid. You want folate. You want, and with a gene mutation, you want methylfolate. This is what I take. This is methylfolate plus, and the plus is, let me see if I can get it to focus. Come on now. Anyway, methylfolate plus. It actually contains lots of B vitamins, and it is methyl. The methylation, see, the mutation causes you to have problems methylating, and this comes in the methyl form so that it's already methylated. And so the two things that you really need methylated when you have the gene mutation, methylfolate and methyl B12. This also contains, let's see here, B1, B2, B6, folate, that is a methylfolate, and B12, which is the methyl B12. And so I take this. I also take liquid methyl B12, and this is, again, methyl, see, like it says it right here, methyl cobalamin, blah, 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 whatever it's called. Okay, you don't want the cyano. Most forms of B12 it starts with CYANO, cyano. You don't want that. You want methyl. And then the other thing that I take is glutathione, and glutathione is your body's most common or abundant, I can't think of the word, the antioxidant, or it's what your body uses to detox. And folate is really important for detoxing. And then this just kind of finishes the cycle. And so I take this to just kind of support my body's ability to detox. And so when I'm not taking this, my body is not detoxing. Now, excuse me. When I first ever started taking methylfolate, before I knew that I had the gene mutation, I started taking this, and it made me extremely ill. And I'm so thankful that I didn't just give up, because I don't know where my life would be right now. But within like 30 minutes, I would have to throw up. I mean, it was severe, and it was every morning. But eventually, apparently what was happening was that my body was so toxic that when I would take the methylfolate, my body finally had what it needed in order to detox. And so my body started trying to detox all at once. And that is why it was making me sick, was because my body was detoxing. And so, I mean, it just, you guys, I can't stress enough. And I wasn't taking this form at the time. I was just taking a straight methylfolate. I say this form. I wasn't taking this brand and methylfolate plus. I wasn't taking this at the time. I was just taking a standard methylfolate that we bought online, because most methyls are hard to find online. So I took these. Now, when I go more than maybe 3 or 4 days, I really don't like going that long, but 2 or 3 days without it, I start losing focus. I start being really unproductive. Now, I am generally, because of the ADHD thing, I am typically, compared to a neurotypical person, I am what they would think is unproductive. But what I mean when I say unproductive, I mean I don't have the desire. I don't have the focus. Even if I have some desire and I'm like, I need to do this. This is important. I know I want to do this. I want to do this. But I cannot literally, I feel like I'm hitting a brick wall. I can't get it done. That can usually be fixed within a day or so if I start taking my methylfolate. Methyl B12 is one of those things that I like to have, but honestly, I feel like methylfolate is the one that really makes a difference. So if you just feel like you're always kind of sluggish and groggy and unmotivated, if you think you're depressed, it could be, if you have the mutation, it could be that your body is just so darn toxic that it can't do anything. And one of the things that our body does when it brings in something that's some sort of preservative or chemical that's not really meant to be food, like if it's not naturally occurring in the whole food that you eat, your body doesn't know what to do with that. And so what does it do with it? It stores it. And how does it store it? In fat cells, with fat. And that's why I think a lot of people are able to lose weight just by eating a whole diet, like Whole30 or paleo, because they're letting go of a lot of those toxins. And even with keto, when you start losing weight, you can have some side effects just from the toxicity that's kind of recirculating into your body, especially, not that estrogen is toxic, but a lot of the estrogen in foods, our body will store it as fat. So, having said all of that, let me go on to some other things that I take. Oh, and you guys, if you know me from the very beginning of my channel, I have always said magnesium and kombucha changed my life, and they really did. I quit taking Adderall cold turkey. Gosh, it was after my son was born, so maybe it's been like 10 years. I just quit taking it. I'd taken it for like 15 years, except when I was pregnant with 2 of my kids. But magnesium, when I started taking magnesium, I learned all about how important magnesium is and how 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And it is, y'all, it at the time when I first learned about it, it was playing a vital role, especially stress, your stress response. It played a vital role in over 300 bodily functions. It had 300 plus jobs. I've now heard up to 500. I'm not sure, but um, magnesium is critical, and there are different forms of magnesium that do different things in your body. Like there is magnesium glycinate, magnesium threonate. There is magnesium oxide. The magnesium, is it sulfide? You know, the one that's Epsom salt, that's magnesium. That's why you take an Epsom salt bath. The magnesium is really good for your muscles, like muscle cramps. Some magnesium is good for your brain. Some magnesium is good for your heart. Magnesium threonate, this stuff, crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is, I've just recently started taking this. I've heard really good things about it, and so I want to give it a try because y'all, the older I get, the more I struggle. And I think part of that, excuse me, part of that was because I was under a lot of stress with my dad having dementia. And then you start realizing, I think me and both of my sisters have had moments where we're just like, our brains are dysfunctioning. And we're like, do we have dementia? Are these the early signs? Because, especially me, because, you know, and I think I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm the one that gets stressed out the most, but then sometimes I think they're stressed out way more than me. I think we just take turns, to be honest. But anyway, it's really important to take care of our brains, and magnesium is really good for your brain. And so I've been taking magnesium threonate. Now, magnesium, even before I started taking this version, it just made a huge difference. And kombucha, which kombucha has B vitamins that are readily accessible. They have the, excuse me, probiotics. They have all kinds of good things for your gut. And so between that and the magnesium, it was like, it worked better than my Adderall did when I was taking it. So anyway, magnesium of any kind, and you can look up which ones are best for what, because again, there are different forms and they really work on best things that are different things. They have things that they work best for. And magnesium threonate is the one that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and I'm like, hey, I need all the help I can get right now, and so that's one of the things that I take. Also, if you have the gene mutation, some people can't take methylfolate, and I wonder if they think they can't take it because it's making them sick, like it did me at first. But one of the other versions that might help people who can't take the methylfolate is folinic acid. And it is one of those that you don't have to work so hard to break it down. I took this for a while, and I didn't, like, within a few days, I didn't go down and just feel like I can't get anything done. Like, when I stopped taking this, like, I go, and with this one, I didn't do that. But eventually, I was just like going, and it just like a slow drop. And I told my husband, I was like, I just don't feel like I'm getting as much done. I'm just starting to feel more dull and unmotivated slowly. It was kind of a slow creep. And so I had told him about a week or two before, I said, I'm going to try this. And if you see me start getting down into that funk like I get into, then get me more of this. I just wanted to try this to see if it would be better than the other one, but it is not for me. And so it got to the point where it wasn't working the way my methylfolate works. And so I just stopped taking it. And then lastly, again, this is for my brain. L-tyrosine, it might also be good for menopause. I can't remember, so don't quote me on that one. But L-tyrosine is also really good for your brain. People with ADHD, again, L-tyrosine and magnesium 3 and 8 are two things that are really good for the ADHD brain, neurodivergent brain. It doesn't cure ADHD. I am still as ADHD as I don't even know what, to compare it to. But I have motivation to get things done. And whereas before I couldn't do the things, now I can go do the things. I just might, like the other day, I went to get my clothes out of the dryer, and I go in there, and they're still in the washer, right? But at least I got up to put it in the washer. Or, I've done this 2 days in a row now. I batch made some keto waffles and kept them in the freezer. And so I get them and I put them in the air fryer to heat them up and crisp them up, warm them up, whatever, so that I can eat one of them. And I'll put it in there for 5 minutes. 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh shoot. And it's cold and I have to cook it again. And so, I'm still ADHD, but I'm not grabbing chips. I am prepping keto-friendly foods, and then I'm preparing those foods repeatedly. But, there's a difference. I have this spark that I lose. And so having that mutation, and it's really interesting because the MTHFR gene mutation, or variant, if you want to call it a variant, that mutation is linked to ADHD, anxiety, Alzheimer's, and all these other brain things. It also affects your cardiovascular system. And like I said, I think one of the mutations primarily affects the brain. One primarily affects the heart. But, it gets complicated and it gets worse, and some versions are worse than others, and it's just, my body processes toxins at about 80% of the rate that at 20%. 80% below what normal bodies do. And I'm sorry, I'm calling it what it is. It's a mutation. Because it negatively affects you. It's not just, oh, you're just different. It's like, no, you have significant problems secondary to this particular mutation. So anyway, this is the other thing that I take. And oh my goodness, y'all, I take 2 of these every day. And then that's for blood pressure. Because I have high blood pressure, because I am overweight. I have a lot of stress, which my stress compared to a year ago, my stress is non-existent. But my husband pointed out to me the other day that I still worry too much. He was like, you need to stop worrying about you, stop worrying about me, stop worrying about the world, just stop worrying. And so that is something that I'm working on, because it is hard not to stress when everything is chaotic around me. And things are chaotic around me because of the whole ADHD thing, for the most part. And so the older I get, it's I start out, I'm this far behind, but then I keep getting more and more behind. Do y'all do that? There's that meme with the goat saying, I'm so far behind, I think I'm ahead. I'm still waiting on that full circle to come where I feel like I'm ahead. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But anyway, so I take fish oil, and this is 2,000 milligrams per serving. And I think one serving is, serving is two gel caps or whatever. But these things, you guys, okay, let me show you the size of these. If you take them, you know fish. And that doesn't even do it. That doesn't even do it justice, y'all. It's huge. But it's necessary, at least for me. It's necessary. I don't take high blood pressure medications. I do take my blood pressure regularly. Here's a couple of things. I'll take it right now while I keep talking because I haven't taken it today. Maybe it'll be a little lower. But, you know, now with everything calming down, if you saw my other video, you saw my mom is now in a nursing home. And so I know that she's being taken care of. I don't have to worry about, you know, constantly checking the camera to make sure she's not falling down. I don't have to, you know, worry about her calling in asking me to do stuff or whatever. And so I'm talking, I should be quiet. So I think my stress level is going down. Hopefully my blood pressure will go down too. My blood sugar has gone down, and I'm really pleased with it. Okay, so 143/95. That's not where I want it, and that's why I take the fish oil. I've already taken it today. But again, that's one of the reasons that losing weight is so important to me. I don't take blood pressure medication. One of the things that helps, besides taking these, I also take garlic. I haven't been taking my garlic, but I may start doing the fish oil with the garlic, which is also good for your blood pressure, and walking or some kind of exercise. When I was taking fish oil and garlic and walking around, like there's this lake, a local little lake, and I would, like, it's exactly 1 mile around it, and so I would walk a couple 2 to 3 laps around it. My blood pressure was getting a lot better.